I don't know if you and Lori have tried using it for recipes in the kitchen. It's awesome. Have you done that yet?
That would be you would have to assume that there is cooking happening in our kitchen.
Oh, there's
in
that.
Order for there to be recipe.
There's that. Okay, never mind.
It's yeah, actually it does. Like it's usually like, hey, who threw away the box? Now we don't know how long to cook this stuff. Can you look it up?
Help me with hip hop. Let's get it right. Protect your patience. Day and night. Donna and David, the experts on your side. Help me with hip hop. Let's get it right.
So Donna, in a recent study from MIT, 95% of people who have these AI dreams end up needing a cold shower. I mean, think about all the people that talk about AI is going to do this and AI is going to do that. It's fantastic. It's wonderful. And we can pare down our workforce and we can get 48 hours work done in 2 hours. And then you have this crazy study that says, no, there's some problems with all that. It's just not working the way people thought.
Yeah, and it's not just one. It's like several different groups are looking at it, finding the same results. And that's what really is interesting.
Yeah. And so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to go over kind of a few myths as well, like myths about generative AI in business, the things to consider. And I know just, anecdotally for you and I, we've been on the bandwagon with AI for probably not long after it came out. And one of the challenges we always have had and still have is that you find a platform that you like that does something, and that platform is gone in months.
Yeah.
Or, maybe a couple of years, but it doesn't stick around long.
Well, and, it's any new technology, we see that happen. It's for all the people that, decided they wanted the beta instead of VHS. For those of us old enough to remember that.
Is that why they call that beta testing? Because it's not going to hang around long.
That's a good one. I like it.
Yeah.
But the big thing I was reading, because, I read, and it's something it's a curse and a gift that it doesn't matter what's in front of me, I'm going to read it. But this article, and it was talking about all these different studies, and the title was, I went all in on AI. The MIT study is right. And I had to know, So I could see, you and I are going to try things. We're never going to dive completely in because we've been screwed over too many times by things disappearing, right?
Yeah.
But some people on this AI thing, they're getting a cold shower.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going all in on platforms until they've been around a while. And it's funny. I was actually talking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about some AI agency and hiring them to do something. And I said, now you do realize, I'm not saying don't hire them, but you do realize anybody you hire at best has a company that's 3 years old.
Yeah. Or it's older, but that product didn't,
Right. Yeah. Well, that's like us. We offer some AI stuff, and I mean, we've been around a long time, but not the AI stuff we're doing.
No.
And some of it we're learning on the fly. It's like, I mean, you remember the days when somebody would say, do you do X, Y, Z? And you'd be like, absolutely. And then you go home and go, I got to figure out how to do it.
I know how. I know I can. That's all I needed,
That's kind of what this is. And even, do you remember me mentioning the little pendant thing I have that records, your conversations, and you can get the transcript out of it and all this kind of stuff?
Yeah.
I think I might have shown it to you. I bought it off Kickstarter, and it took them a year to get me the thing. And I've just got it like a month ago. I got an email yesterday that the company has been acquired by Meta and that they are ceasing all operations in 1 year. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well, and that's another big problem we're having in the AI world is the big companies are just buying anybody that can compete with them.
Yeah, buy them up, shut them down. But
Yep.
I mean, the good thing about this was it was $99. I've spent a lot more than that on other platforms, only to have them disappear after a year.
Yeah, that's true.
And honestly, like you said, this happened before AI. We've seen this happen many times on SaaS products and things like that. But AI's worse because I tell people all the time, don't worry so much about AI taking your job because right now what AI is doing is taking other AI's jobs.
Yeah, this was going to be better at doing that. Yeah. And you know, everybody's working. Which one is it using? And I'm like, start little. Don't start little. And that's what, you know, this is why I like this article. It was by Josh Anderson. And of course, there's going to be a link in the show notes. But that dismal number of 95% of the you know, you start and fail, you know, but we get to say cold shower. But it's the real world. And the question is, why is that happening? Because our job is to kind of help people not have that happening. And there's a couple of lines in the article that, you know, made me go, okay, we've got to have a conversation about this. And one was his point that, you know, everybody thinks that, you know, it's just going to take my job, like you said. And in reality, I have yet to see an AI solution that I would say would take someone's job. Unless that, I haven't seen a task where I don't need a human to have human intelligence augmenting by the AI. So that was his point is you don't abdicate your job, you augment your job with AI. And that's what I've been trying to tell everybody. It's like a really smart assistant, you know. That's the message I've been doing. Because the minute you do it, he found problems. And this is a guy, you know, has been around the block like us. And he says, okay, I'm going to take my next project. I'm going to go to Claude and I'm going to let it do all the coding. It can code everything. I'm just going to tell it what I want it to do. I'm going to tell it how to test it. I'm going to tell it all the things. And it worked great. And then somebody needed to change. And, you know, normally when you've built something like that, you got it in your head and you're like, sure, I know exactly where to do that. But no, you know, I know how to go change it. And he said, I have my own product built under my own direction, and I had lost confidence in my ability to modify it.
Yeah.
And that moment is like, I can't even comprehend because, you lose your own confidence. You know? And you and I are not confident at all in what we do. You know, if it's my thing, I'm very confident. You know, I could do those things. But if it's not my thing, no, no. You want me to build a deck? I'm out. I know it's not my thing. I can help you figure out doing it on the computer. But you know, I can haul stuff. I'm pretty good at that. But that's it.
I know you need wood and you need screws. Anything else?
Maybe some concrete somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So you'd mentioned too that every time somebody brings up how awesome AI is going to be, that you have this movie or this song playing in your head.
Yeah. The Lego movie, Everything is Awesome. And just go look it up. Lego movie, Everything's Awesome. If you're not like going, oh yeah, that song, you're welcome. It'll be stuck in your head now. Anytime somebody says, oh yeah, AI is great, we're going to be able to do this. We're going to get rid of 40,000 jobs because of AI. Yeah.
Yeah. I heard a podcast the other day, and this was two people that are in the AI space, very high up. One of the People said, so what are humans going to do when there's nothing to be done? And I'm like, oh, are we a little early for that conversation? Like, we haven't even gotten to the point where AI can run a simple vending machine business successfully yet.
Yeah.
When they've tested that.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how we're making this huge leap so fast. Maybe we can, I don't know. Maybe 2 years from now, I'm gonna be like, holy cow, but I just don't see it.
And I've been through enough changes in technology where the next hot thing is going to be the thing. I remember when they announced the Segway. Do you remember that? When they announced the Segway? And it was going to be the hottest thing. It was going to change how we live.
Change transportation forever.
Yeah. And
in the mall.
The mall cop and, the tourist guides.
Tours.
It hasn't made those big things. And, there's several other technologies that had great promise. Now, granted, nobody's thrown this much money at any of them.
Yeah.
Because our economy is being propped up by, building these massive data centers. So we are going to use it. But how are we going to use it?
You got companies like OpenAI, they're losing money by the millions. It's crazy.
Yeah, and people are still throwing money at it. Because, I don't think it's wrong that that's where we're going. I just don't think it's going to be, we're a long way. And much longer from where we reach singularity that, any of those things. I mean, remember, I still think all I have to do is think about those poor Russians with their little robot that fell flat on its face.
Fell over.
And, you've seen that happen to everybody doing demos of something and it just doesn't work, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so, that's the big thing. And so this article was talking about the MIT study. They're right. Is everybody's just throwing all this stuff at it. Everything's awesome. Everything's awesome. Everything's awesome. And then nothing's actually turning into that ROI that they're looking for. And so I wanted to hit some of the things that they saw about the stat. And it does align with what we're seeing. And then, we're not seeing the how it starts with the $30 to $40 billion in invest. We're not seeing that.
Yeah, we ain't got $30 or $40.
That's not where we're getting our money. So, but $30 to $40 billion in enterprise investment into generative AI. And again, this is just talking about generative AI. That not all of the other, which we'll get to in a minute. And it says, this is their opening paragraph of the executive summary. This report uncovers a surprising result in that 95% of organizations are getting zero return.
Wow.
Zero. The outcomes are so starkly divided across both buyers in the enterprise, mid-market, SMBs, all of it, and builders, the startups, the vendors, the consultancies, that we call it the generative AI divide. Just 5% of integrated AI pilots are extracting millions in value, while the vast majority remain stuck with no measurable P&L impact. This divide does not seem to be driven by model quality or regulation, but seems to be determined by approach. And there you have it. It aligns exactly with that whole point of how you go about it and what you're looking at. Because if you think everything's awesome, everything, we're going to get on it. No. Just like in the movie, the Lego people had to learn. Those movies
I gotta
are so
go watch
fun.
that movie now.
Now you do. You do. Yeah, just enough. That's right in the beginning too, so you can enjoy it. But I love the Lego movies. And then I Am Batman is, one of the. So, that reminded me of a friend of mine. I just have to detour because, triggers things. when his son was little. He was a huge Batman fan. And he called the house and left a message for his son on his birthday. I'm Batman. Happy birthday, Seth. And the kid was like, amazing. Oh my God, this is the most amazing thing ever. Yeah. So yeah, that's AI in the same world that we're in. The kid's all excited because he hears this thing. It's not real. And people go to all of these meetings and they see these $40 billion being thrown at everything, but nothing's been proven. It's not real yet.
Mhm.
When you get it in the real world, that's when you learn.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it's the fun stuff, right? But that gets back to the abdication versus augmentation.
Mm-hmm.
It works great as a really smart assistant. I don't know if you and Lori have tried using it for recipes in the kitchen. It's awesome. Have you done that yet?
That would be you would have to assume that there is cooking happening in our kitchen.
Oh, there's
in order
that.
for there to be recipe.
There's that. Okay, never mind.
It's yeah, actually it does. Like it's usually like, hey, who threw away the box? Now we don't know how long to cook this stuff. Can you look it up?
No, I'll give it like, I've got this, and this. Tell me something I can make that's easy, blah, 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 and spits it right on out. And
yeah. I point ChatGPT, the video into my pantry and my refrigerator, and it always says the same thing. I can't help you, bro.
I got nothing.
You can have cereal for dinner.
Ain't nothing wrong with breakfast for dinner. But
That's right.
But I do find it very helpful. Like there was something I saw, and it was like a French recipe for something. All that is complicated French recipe. And I'm like, I saw this recipe for this. It's French, so I know it's going to be way more complicated than I want to do. Can I make it? And it's like, boom, here you go. It's all adapted for me. Makes it easier. Okay, great. So that's where it really has value, not just in your kitchen, but in your job, the same way in your day-to-day job.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you might not want to
Well, I think-
hire me as a chef at your, really expensive restaurant because that's what I'm going to be doing. So just saying.
So we got a few things here that you mentioned in our notes here. One is that, and this is the thing I think I see most, that real disruption is limited. Like people talk about how disruptive it's going to be and about how much use they're getting out of it, but you don't see that across everything and everybody. It seems to be kind of sprinkled in here and there.
Well, that's the 4 patterns. That's the first of the 4 patterns that MIT noticed when they were doing their interviews of over like 300 different, folks trying to do these pilot programs. And no, out of the 8 major industry sectors that it was looking at in healthcare technology, they were right in there. Only 2 were seeing real structural change from generative AI, and that's not us. I don't remember what it is, but it's not us. So yeah, it is. I mean, you and I talk about it. We were just talking about, I've gotten some great gains in productivity, but it hasn't changed how we do things and what we do. It's just made us better at it.
Yeah. Man, this next one, large organizations are running the most AI pilots, but they also are the worst at turning those pilots into something that actually scales.
Yeah, everybody's singing
Wow.
everything is awesome, and then they end up staring at each other when it doesn't work out, right?
Yeah. Or is it some of the stuff where it's like, we don't know what to use, so let's just try it on 4 different things and see if we can make something work?
Yeah. Yeah. And then nothing really goes to that because what we're looking for is not what we should be looking for.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know just in my limited use of enterprise type things, the question is always, what's the best model to use, or what's the best platform to use? And it changes so fast.
Yep.
And for me, that's been something that's held me back from some of these platforms, is because I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is the best platform to be on to do X, Y, Z. And then literally less than a week later, this is no longer the best platform. And it's like, holy cow, because I don't want to build something, especially client facing. Like, if it crashes into something I'm doing, okay, whatever. But I'm building something client facing.
Oh yeah.
I can't afford for that to crash. And so it's like, it's always a struggle. Is like, am I in the right ecosystem?
Yeah. Well, and it goes back to, I remember back in the day, they used to say, well, we're not getting that new technology yet because we want to be on the cutting edge, not the bleeding edge,
Yeah.
And great that these large companies are just throwing all this money into these pilots, but they're at the bleeding edge. It's just bleeding money because they're not well planned. It goes back to what they said is the approach is where the problem is. They're like, oh, AI is going to fix this thing over here, instead of going, hey, let's look at what we do and how could we use AI to make it better. They're looking at that end result, not the steps to get there. And that's the approach thing I think that's happening. And then, of course, speaking of bleeding money, budget bias. And you and I have totally seen this. Companies keep pouring money into flashy, like it's customer facing, but the ROI is really on the back end. How much time can I save and free up my people to do other things? Maybe I'm able to actually not work people until their head explodes. Maybe I'm building quality of life, because that's ultimately what I would like to see. It give us is more quality of life, to get our jobs done really, really well, faster. I think that's the key.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's not where the money's going right now. It's like, hey, look at me. And then these are myths, by the way, that it's big, disruptive. No, it's not. That, the enterprises are really, no, they're not being successful. They're not turning this in. Spending the money on the high end stuff is not going to give you the really high ROI. The partnership advantage, where you try to build it all internally, because I'm going to replace my internal people and not use the vendors. Turns out teams that work with outside partners or vendors see about twice the success rate compared to companies trying to do everything in-house. And I can tell you why that is. That goes back to the same thing with technology, doesn't it? It is technology, my bad. It goes back to, I'm going to handle my security all by myself. I don't need anybody.
Yeah. Good luck.
And turns out you're not going to be that good at it.
No. Well, it's just like I was saying, the speed in which the stuff moves, like, unless this is your business and you are following this stuff and keeping up with it, you can certainly say, I'm going to do this AI application myself, and I'm going to create this workflow myself. But that doesn't mean it's going to be the thing that you should have done. I mean, and you're not going to be able to keep up with the changes. And what if the platform goes away? What if the platform changes and you're on an older version and it doesn't support whatever you're doing? You're not going to be able to keep up with all that, because you think cybersecurity changes fast, and it does. AI is worse than that. Like, literally, when a couple weeks ago, this was so funny. A couple of weeks ago, there was an announcement that Grok AI, what is it called? XAI, whatever.
Yeah.
Grok was the best performing model in the industry. I saw the article that morning. That afternoon, Google announced Gemini 3, and Grok was no longer the best model.
It didn't even take that week, right?
It didn't even last a full day. It was so crazy.
Yeah, and that's where it is, because if you're partnering with somebody to build some of this stuff, it's because they know that one thing. They know that thing. They know what's happening.
Yeah. And if you're waiting on some companies like, dare I say, Apple, like I think they've kind of abandoned AI at this point. I don't know. What they'll do though, I'm not not throwing any stones here, not throwing any apples, but they'll come out with some kind of AI tool in about a year from now and call it like, the freshest thing on the market. It's never been done before.
It'll be pretty.
But yeah, it'll be pretty. And see, you got tools like Google. 2 years ago, Google's like, I don't know, man. They're way behind. They're so far behind. They're not doing very well. But the thing that Google did have is they have all the infrastructure and they have the data centers and they have the money. And so now they're finally catching up. Now they're not just catching up, they're passing what these other companies are doing. And so now they're the force to be reckoned with when it comes to some of the AI tools and what they do. Of course, depending on your use case, like some will do better at other things than others. So,
yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of it is Google was really pushing the AI thing for a long time, and then it wasn't catching on. So they kind of backed off, and then OpenAI came along.
yeah. Well, Google spent a lot of time developing AI that was more the back end portions of AI. So, thinking like their search engines and things like that. Google's had AI for a lot longer than we're using AI. They just didn't have anything that was customer facing until all of a sudden ChatGPT hits the market and then like, oh crap, we need to create an AI that's customer facing, not just something that we're using, in the big labs and all this kind of stuff. But, it's always interesting to see how like there was no such thing as AI, then somebody does it and now it's everywhere.
Yeah. And it's going to just be prolific now for a while, and everybody's going to run to the next big thing because that's where we're going to make all this money or whatever. But
I'm trying to find the shovels. I just want to sell the shovels.
That's good. So in the report, they noticed those 4 patterns that you don't really get disruption. You got a lot of pilots that aren't going anywhere.
Yep.
And throwing money at the fancy things that can get you anywhere. And you're better off with a partner.
Yeah, absolutely. So, at least you got somebody to guide you through and help you stay up with it. But, that brings us kind of back around to the article and talking about, the point that the AI risks are involved and you're losing, the guy lost what he created and, now he doesn't have the wisdom it takes to actually fix his product. So just think about if we have AI taking the place of things we're doing, how much knowledge and wisdom are we losing, from what you call the scars of experience?
Yeah. Well, you and I both know. I mean, there's times where you've spent the entire weekend heads down trying to solve a problem many, many times. AI is not going to learn from that. You're not going to teach it anything.
No, and you won't learn because oftentimes the trying to figure the thing out, you don't just learn how to solve that problem, but you learn how to solve a bunch of other problems along the way because you're having to, to figure that part of it out. And usually, if you're like me, you probably break 2 or 3 other things along the way.
And then have to fix those.
Learn even more. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And it's, weird and obscure stuff. Like, I can hear when you tell them to type something and I can hear whether or not they're typing what I told them to. From you.
Yeah. Can you type CMD?
Okay,
like,
that wasn't
what are you
it.
typing?
Or click on this and you hear click, 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 and nothing, what they're doing.
Yep. So let's talk about too the fact that the agentic AI explosion is going to be an absolute nightmare. I mean, there's parts of it that's already a nightmare for IT. So you shadow AI and things like that. But there's coming. It's already here.
Yeah.
There's coming very, very big problems with how AI is presented, because I'm in a lot of forums with AI, and a lot of these people are AI agencies, or they're, one owner agencies
You
or
think
whatever.
they are. They're
And
all
I
AI
know.
created.
They probably are.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that they often do is they're like, what problems should I be solving, and for what industries? And almost every time I see somebody go, you should go and solve healthcare problems. There's so many they have, and they'll pay good money to solve these problems and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And so anyway, one of the platforms I was on the other day, and it's an AI powered workflow and agentic platform, very big platform in the space. And people can create their own workflows and then sell them. So you
Ooh,
this thing,
shiny things.
yeah. And I saw this one, and I sent you a screenshot of it. And the title of it is AI powered dental appointment system with Telegram, Google Calendar, and Google Sheets for $49.
Yeah. That sounds so. The minute I saw it, I'm
And
like,
when
we're
you-
just going to start seeing this all the time, aren't we?
Oh, you are. And the other thing too is this image shows you, if you look at it on the right-hand side, it tells you how many different tools it jumps through. It's jumping through 9 different tools
Yep.
to do this.
Yeah.
That's 9 tools that you have to vet, get business associate agreements with, have accounts with. I mean, it's not just a matter of, hey, let's create this AI powered dental appointment system for $49. It's going to be fantastic.
Did you send them a thing asking if they'll sign a BAA?
No. Well, this person here is simply just creating the workflow.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a workflow platform.
So I'm just giving you the software.
It's like I'm giving you the idea, and and here's the roadmap. Like, here's the AI roadmap that connects all the pieces together.
Yeah.
What you do with it is your problem.
It goes back to the don't use your internal, build it yourself, but we know we're going to see it left and right. Oh, I'm just going to build this, I'm going to build that, and then we're going to start seeing all new data breaches and patients having a fit because they'll figure it out. And anyway.
Yeah, it's going to get worse before it gets better, as we often say.
Yeah. Pardon our progress. Yeah. Pardon our mess while we make progress in our new implementation. But it's absolutely terrifying to know where we are right now with the generative AI, which we're already seeing, where everybody thought it was going to take us and what we could do. Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, it's going to replace all the jobs and like soon. No, probably maybe 3, 4, 5 years. I don't know. It's going to transform business, not unless somebody figures out how to use it better. And that's still not happening.
Look, we can't even figure out how to have Walmart self-checkout without somebody there to handle it.
And I was just reading somewhere that somebody was getting rid of self-checkout. And I think it was like too many people were stealing it. I don't know. But it's that, somebody has to be there because A, the machine stops doing it. B, there's always something I've bought. And I know I'm buying something weird that nobody else buys and goes through the checkout with, the self-check.
And don't never buy bananas because you got to try to look up the code for it.
Yeah. And you use it like at Home Depot or something, and now you're in a whole different world. I got this long piece of wood I'm going to get. I got 3 or 4 planks, and I got it. No. It's the same issue that we've run into with all the other technology, and somehow they think this is going to be different.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing
it will be
that.
different. It may not be better, but it will be different.
Yeah, we're going to run into the same thing. But, it's stuff like this that, whoever's doing that AI-powered dental thing, somebody's going to come back to them and say, well, I know I only paid you $49, but you didn't tell me I had to secure it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know.
They probably have you sign something. There's a waiver I'm just selling you the
Well,
workflow.
yeah, I know.
What you do with it is your problem.
Well, you hope
I'm selling
they're
you the
smart
recipe.
enough. Yeah.
That's it. Like I'm selling you the recipe. If you go out and buy the ingredients and whatever you make out of it, that's up to you.
Yeah,
But I'm
you
just
screw
selling
it
you the
up, that's
recipe.
on you. If you burn it.
I know.
uh,
Yeah. It's going to be, but you've got people that, runs a dental office and he's going to see this and say, $49, this is amazing. Let's do this,
yep.
and you'll find somebody that, the one man agency, AI agency guy who's doing this as a side hustle. He'll build it for him.
All nine different apps are going to be tied all together. 9. Because Telegram, Google Calendar, blink, 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 blink.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna put that on Google? Yeah, really. Anyway, I just want to go out there. Please take it down. Just put a sign up. Please don't do this.
Yeah, and you can do it on the free version of Google. It's not going to force you to do it right.
I know, and people. That's been settlement agreements over people using free Google Calendar to schedule appointments before.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing.
Yep.
So anyway, we talk about like, oh, we got to talk about AI all the time. I'm so tired of it. At conferences, you got to talk about AI in every session because it's that big.
It's prolific.
I know. It will impact all parts of your life in some way. Eventually.
Yep.
And
it already does.
Yeah.
Even if you don't realize
yeah,
it.
you may not know it, but it's already doing things that you probably don't even want it to be doing for you or evaluating about you. But it's the reality we live in, which again is just like us in the reality of, looking at all of the cyber attacks and the criminals and how much money they've made, which, brings me to the other thing you sent me, because I now try not to look at what you sent me until I'm in a space. And the headline is researchers uncover 30 plus flaws in AI coding tools, enabling data theft and RCE attacks. Remote command. So it's not good. Is what that means.
Yeah. And these are not obscure coding tools either. Because I went and looked at the list because I like, well, maybe they're just, these ones you ain't never heard of. Now, there were some I'd never heard of, but there was some major ones in there.
Yeah.
I was like, good Lord. I mean, I know people who build stuff with these tools.
Well, and it's just like everything else. Let's build it and secure it when we're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. So security's not
sell
built
it first.
I know. That's what everybody says. Security's not built in. It's not part of it until we sell some, which is not secure when we sell it. But then we'll secure it when we sell it. But we're going to need to sell some more to secure it. And the loop continues. So we're going to be in the position where we're going to need to do more sessions, more episodes, more things talking about how you implement AI safely and securely. How do you manage it? How do you do all those things? Not that we want to.
Yeah. Well, some people are going to, they're going to do it. And some people are going to do it the right way. Some people do it the wrong way. But there are people who are starting to understand the differences of different levels of security. Like the one I sent you the other day, this company, I was so shocked I had to send you a screenshot. The company said, we are SOC 2 compliant. However, we have no timeline on when we will have our HIPAA compliance done. And I was like, look, they know it's different.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. That's awesome. But we're going to need people to really understand. I think that's a big piece is every single person where we used to talk about shadow AI or shadow IT. It was generally somebody that was interested in IT that we had to worry about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shadow AI is going to happen with people who aren't interested in AI. They're not even know. It's something cool. It's something that it's going to save me time. It's going to make me look better. It's going to. And we've got to train people not just on using the AI, but understanding about not using the AI and controlling it and managing it. And so that means that we're going to need to train people to manage it, to train their people to not do it. And
Well, it's
stuck in a loop
It's
again.
baked into everything. Yeah, it's going to be a loop for sure, but it's baked into everything. Like there's not a day that goes by I don't use AI, and I'm not talking about directly. I'm talking about just indirectly. I use AI every single day, whether I want to or not, because my tools won't allow me not to use them anymore.
Yeah, it's going to be there. It's going to prompt you to do things. And it's like I was doing something on a site today, and you had to go to the AI assistant, even though I knew I didn't need the AI assistant. The AI assistant was going to send me to a real person, because rarely am I going to need, if I need something, I'm great. So, but you have to go through the steps with the AI assistant trying to get you to solve the problem without going to a person.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's going to get blowback like a lot of other things does eventually. But when we look at everywhere in our lives, it's going to happen, and we have to deal with it. We have to manage it. So we're going to have to do more episodes about it. This one included. But know that going in, don't get overly excited that it's going to be super helpful. Because, we've tested a lot of things. We've done a ton of things. And some things are super helpful and saved us a lot of time to do something as accurately as we want to do it in a shorter amount of time. That's what I'm looking for. But in healthcare, it's not just accuracy making you look good, or accuracy, making sure that you're meeting your reputational, criteria. It's somebody's life. And now it's way different. And that's part of the problem that this MIT study and some of these others, they're not hitting on the clinical part of it, only the business parts. And so I think in healthcare, we're really going to have to narrow down. But between HSCC and all the other stuff we have coming at us, and the MIT reports, and HHS just released the artificial intelligence AI strategy. That's what it says on the heading.
That's what it says.
It's on the heading. It's it's artificial intelligence strategy, artificial intelligence AI strategy. Yes, they did. It's the headline that it gave me. Anyway, so we've got all of those things yet to deal with. So you're going to be hearing more of it. And we're almost to the end of the year, and we got our blooper show and one other show, and we're in, it's this one and then the blooper show, and then we're into the new year, maybe.
Oh, so this is our last one before we take a short hiatus.
Yeah, well, we're still, we get to skip 1 week. I don't know. Get too old.
That's a mental health day for me to not have to deal with you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
All righty. Well, speaking of mental health, all this AI stuff's going to drive you crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we'll get through it as we always do. So that's our show for today, folks. Get out of the cold shower. Get back to work. So remember, for Donna and myself, first of all, have a happy holiday, happy new year, all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that HIPAA is not about compliance. It's about patient care.
You've been listening to the Help Me with HIPAA podcast, hosted by Donna Grindle and David Sims. The show created to help you with HIPAA. For more information or to ask us a question, visit our website at helpmewithhipaa.com. Neither Donna Grindle or David Sims are attorneys, and they do not offer binding legal advice concerning regulatory compliance. The information in this podcast should not be relied upon or construed as legal advice in any way. Consult your attorney for legal advice concerning compliance with HIPAA regulations.